Hey everyone, Chell here with Prismatic Powders. Today's video is all about giving you some creative project ideas if you're in that beginner DIY phase of powder coating. Most of you in this category don't have a large oven like this. You have a small oven like this, or even this. And with that in mind, everything that we're going to show you is going to fit into one of these smaller ovens and will also be uncomplicated to spray. It's going to be achievable with the most basic of powder coating implements, even like your gun. Now, it would be remiss of me not to mention that cheap entry-level equipment is going to limit you, and it's only a matter of time before you find that threshold, but hey, you gotta start somewhere. The point is, all of this is going to be easy, approachable, and fun. Now, I do want to mention that I'm not going to cover anything about your booth. This is going to be really focusing on the parts and project ideas that will give you good practice before you start building your own powder coating empire. And as always, we want you to follow the right part preparation steps of degreasing and blasting and outgassing if needed to ensure that you get the best result. All right, so we'll link to a video in the description below for more information about that. All right, so let's dive in. Cups and tumblers. This is an easy one. They do make great gifts as well. And if you're gonna do cups or tumblers, you need to get yourself a little Lazy Susan and some high temp tape, and these large silicone plugs will make your life easier. So you're gonna start by masking off the rim of the cup. And this is gonna give you some points for style and help in getting that hard line on top of the rim, which is just gonna make it terrible to drink from. If you're using a silicone plug, poke a hole in it to run the ground wire through. Or you can wrap it in aluminum foil so you get good ground contact. Everything's in place, so it's ready to coat. Now, I like to turn my powder flow settings down for small parts so I don't build too much powder too quickly. Once the powder's on, place the whole thing in the oven and follow the cure schedule for the powder you're using. All right, small automotive or motorsport parts. Unlike cups, most of the parts you're going to coat will be hung from a rack of some sort, so you need some hooks. And of course, your parts need a hole somewhere to run that hook through. So if you got those two things, it's really easy. You just need to make sure your parts and or rack are grounded and go to town. All done. Then you're gonna hang them up for curing when you're finished. Tools. If you're starting out in a garage, you probably have some tools in there, so you might as well customize or restore those bad boys. And the nice thing is tools usually offer a good point for racking. Tools have hard life. They get thrown around a lot. Watch your temper. Just make sure you mask off any surfaces that are tolerance areas or any areas that you don't want powder to get into. Next, just get to coating. Now make sure you coat the 10mm a bright color because it's the one that you always need but can never find. And you guessed it, when you're done, just place them in the oven to cure. Fishing lures. Apparently, fish like bright, interesting colors, and this is just one of the reasons that 10 out of 10 fish prefer Prismatic Powders to any other brand of powder. Fishing lures are simple and overall require less work than pretty much anything else. And you'll see why here in a minute. Lures will have a tiny little eyelet that will probably be too small for your hook, so you need to get yourself some fine gauge wire to create a loop wide enough for the hook. You'll also need to make sure that whatever lures you're using are just metal of some sort because they're going to be hot at some point, whether it's curing or preheating. Regarding curing, if you have an oven, great, but a lot of people will simply coat the lure and then melt the powder with a heat gun, and it works just fine because they're just lures and they're not really needing the durability that would be provided from a full cure. In fact, fish don't care about durability, they care about looks. They're very superficial, you might even say shallow. That was a terrible attempt at a pun on my part, so before things get any worse, it's time to end this video. Hopefully this gives you some interesting ideas on things you can try as a DIY guy or girl. But if you've got ideas to share of your own, drop them in the comments below. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.